So essentially, when the idea first came up, Mr. Ryan gave us a multitude of topics to pick for this project. What did they include? It was like, you know, it was a board game or a costume or a poster or anything, you know, classic original ideas, yeah, quote unquote original. So
that was mean.
No, it wasn't mean. That was perfectly just. So essentially, I came up with the idea and I asked Ryan if we wanted to work together. He said sure, and our idea was an alternative ending. Okay, so Ryan's idea, as he stated, he wanted to have a comedy. Yeah. And he also wanted it to be very similar to Japanese animation. So I said no.
It'd be big.
No. I said,
we had like a couple scene where he had like a lightsaber like thing, and he pulled out the wrong way. And he stabbed him in the. And then and then I originally had him with being gay. He was like, "Oh, do you happen to like Barry Manilow?"
I missed that one. Anyway, so you know, I gradually said no, and I think I said no at least 50 times to you because you kept pursuing it.
We should have pursued it.
No, we shouldn't have. No.
Yes, we should.
No.
Yeah, we should. It's better than the Ethan Hawke movie.
That was good.
Originally, I was going to have it medieval, in the medieval scene, similar to the Mel Gibson film, which was very good. And you know, it was going to be, you know, sword play and sword fights, and we're going to have, you know, the gods and whatnot going to have nice tunics, you know, attained to the colors of the Danish flag. But unfortunately, things cost money in this world, and money was not something that we had.
Oh, really now?
Yeah, really. Ye who wanted to contribute $20.
I want a $100 budget.
Everything costed like $600.
But we're in a high school, so we can't have like an actual budget. This isn't Hollywood.
So anyway, we decided to change it to a modern scene. And instead of tunics, we'd have suits. Instead of swords, we'd have guns. Essentially, now, guns are something that we had. I mean, I'm a collector of airsoft weaponry. So yeah, in the casting, however, I think we had it very similar to the to how it was originally supposed to be. Of course, you know, we'd have Hamlet.
One of the things that we definitely wanted to do with this is make sure that it did not turn out like the Ethan Hawke movie where he clips a gun right in front of whatever his name was. Yeah, Polonius. And the guy's like, "Oh, what was that?" I was like, "Oh, nothing. It's just a gun."
Yeah, the Ethan Hawke version wasn't my favorite version.
No, just be honest, it was total garbage.
Inspired to do better than the Ethan Hawke version, we aspired to create the best ending ever, which is a shootout. Yes, shootout, guns go bam, 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 bam. Yes, that sort of thing.
I think they know what guns sound like.
Let me assure you that's not what guns sound like.
Another comment from the peanut gallery over here.
Happily obliged.
Yes. Essentially, the casting and we had Hamlet, we had Laertes, who's sitting right next to me. We had Horatio, who was played by a man named Vinny Mezzoferro, who could not be here today.
I would exactly call him a man.
Yeah. And we had King Claudius, the main antagonist of the Shakespearean story, played by our editor's brother, Christian Carrole, who was also not here today. So, essentially, the casting was, I originally wanted 7 gods, or no, 6 gods, so I apologize. But gradually, as it went on, it got down to 6, and then 5, 4, 3, and then we were lucky if we had 2 on days of shooting. But since we had all sorts of different costumes for them, we decided that we would reuse them in a good way. You know, we just changed how they appeared, and wow, we push them right back in there. We had a few changes over the course of the film in terms of locations and scenery and whatnot. Because the opening scene, when I wrote the script, it was supposed to be in Elsinore Castle, and originally we wanted it to be, you know, almost like a stone background, like you know how the interior of a castle looks. I mean, even Ryan knows how the interior of the castle works.
Yeah.
And we had it changed so that we would shoot at a cemetery. Well, yes, it was a cemetery, but with the stone walling and the statues there, it almost looked like, you know, the interior of the outside interior of a castle.
Yeah.
It was good though. I think it went out well.
Yeah, but then Pine Banks came around and.
Well, Pine Banks was a main location, which is where the shootout was supposed to. Where the shootout did happen, most of it anyway. The main scene of the film.
Yeah.
And all was going well, with the exception that we had problems beating the darkness, and anywho, that'll be discussed later on. So, the location was originally supposed to be the Lynn Woods, which I'll admit I didn't know how to get to it, and Lynn is, you know, a pretty good distance from where I live. I mean, I didn't know how to get there. I mean, some of my other actors, they didn't know how to get there. So I was the first one to propose it and said, why don't we film at Pine Banks, which is, it's close to the school, it's close to the MC, and it's not that hard to get to, it's not that hard to get back, it's wooded, it's, you know, it's good forest parts in it, mountainous and rocky and whatnot. And most of my actors were there, it was like, oh, okay, I know where that is, I can get there. Ryan, on the other hand, he had some, he was asked me a few questions of where is it, how do I get back to MC, I'm the guy without a GPS, I don't know where I'm going. Oh Lord, please help me. Okay, now, what's next? For the props, like I said, they were supposed to be swords, but they eventually developed into various assorted firearms, which are around the table. As you can see, we had a various assortment of airsoft weaponry here, ranging from, you know, assault rifles, which are spring or electric, pistols right here. These are most of the pistols that were used right here, ranging from the top one, which is a Walther PPK, which was used by Hamlet. Middle one, Brother 92 inoxidized, was used by the King, and down is Mauser Broomhandle C96 model, used by Laertes.
Most of those are his, by the way.
Yes, they are. Submachine guns over here, used by the Guards and whatnot. MP5K Uzi. The assault rifles were, this is an M4 with a missing stock, because my cousin kind of, you know, beats the living out of his airsoft rifles. And, AK. So yeah, the weaponry was kind of sort of chosen by me. I assigned all the weapons to everyone. I decided what Hamlet should use, what Laertes should use, what the Guards should have, and whatnot. And I did some research online and to figure out what the real Danish army used, and turns out they were all, you know, M16 copies from Canada, so I'm just like, yeah, forget that. So I sort of gave them a little on my selection, which is a little bit from, you know, the submachine gun and assault family. A few of the props, a few of the weapons are missing. That's because they were generally used by one of my actors. His name is Andrew Caulfield, who was not here today. Other props included, the ending was supposed to be King Claudius, who stabbed Hamlet in the back after being poisoned, and he used a dagger right here, so.
Belongs to Josh Walton.
Yes, Josh Walton. So yeah, essentially.
Put some humor into it.
This was the, if you can see the vial here, this is a vial of, well, there's water in it, but it's supposed to be poison that Hamlet was supposed to pour into the king's ear. As a result, would poison him. And, you know, the hardest thing to find was actually the vial. I mean, hard to believe a vial would be so hard to find these days. I mean, but I found one eventually after digging through a bunch of junk in my room.
Where'd you get it?
Yeah, it was some sort of like CSI DNA set that I've had since I was like 8. Well, I don't know. Gee, Ryan, what did you come up with? That's mine. That's Josh's. These are most of them.
I didn't have any weaponry.
He drove us.
Yeah, I drove you guys everywhere.
Okay, you get the award for honorable taxi driver.
Thank you. I still need your money though.
Okay, moving on. Let's see, props. The location, of course, was, like I said before, was Pine Banks. But we had a few issues in terms of the location. I mean,
yeah.
I went a day in advance. I picked out, you know, where the main shootout would take place, and then where the shot after that would take place. We originally intended to plan to film off the main path and actually onto another location in the park, which is up on a hill and over the cliffside. You can see, you know, the sun and, you know, the trees and whatnot. And we got permission from the groundskeeper. You know, we explained to him, like, I think the first day we filmed what exactly we were doing, and then we came back another day, which was like a few days after the first day.
Yeah.
And everything was going well. My actor Andrew actually showed up, and we had a little more assortment of weaponry and whatnot. We also had an extra guard, which was very good for us. And apparently, some kid, don't know who it was, saw our weapons, which, you know, the airsoft rifles are supposed to replicate real firearms. I mean, anyone who's an airsoft person knows that. I think it was more because, for another thing, just to make the editor's job easier, we kind of sort of, we had black electrical tape, and we taped over the orange tips on it, make it look a little more professional. And I guess some kid saw this, and he actually thought we had real guns. So naturally, in his puny little 5-year-old head, you know, ran home to his mama and, you know, say, "Oh, mama, there are bad guys in the park and they have guns." Plays too much Call of Duty, probably. We got a little visit from the Malden Police Department, the 2 deputies that were on duty.
And we told them about the situation, and they're like, "Oh, is this situation again?"
The deputies were very friendly. They approached us, you know, calmly. You know, they're just like, "Oh, hey guys, what you guys doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, we're filming a movie."
And it looked like they had this like case before, so they're like, "Oh, not this again." So
yeah, most likely. I mean, they were very friendly. The deputy, like, the 2 came, and honestly, the first guy came up and talked to us. The second guy was like laid back, saying, he's like, "Yeah, let my partner handle this." And they were all nice. They were smiling, and they were like, "Oh, hey guys," we're like, "Hey officers," and they're just like, "Oh, you know, you got to be a little more aware in the future, you know, with the tape and whatnot." And I'm just saying, you know, we want to make it look a little more professional. And he's like, "Well, we got editing that can do that, and, you know, since we want to make our editor's job easier, anywho." So yeah, after they left, you know, no one got arrested, thankfully. I think Andrew was sort of, he was a little worried. He talked to me afterwards, and the funny thing is that we all swore not to tell each other's mothers. Well, I told my mother, but she didn't mind. My friend Andrew told his mother, and somehow the story got passed on to the rest of my family. So on Christmas Day, when I'm having dinner with my family at my father's house and my stepmother's house, it's like, "Oh, look at him! It's Mullen's most wanted. He's sitting right here. Tell us that story."
Someone's going to the nut house.
But a few other issues too. The first day we shot, we had actor Christian Crow playing King Claudius. Then we had Josh Welton there as a guard.
And comedy ensued.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to say, "Quiet on the set. We got to do this before it gets dark." And they're just like, "Oh no, we gotta talk. We're gonna hit each other with sticks and whatnot." Yeah, we had some.
As far as editing goes, it was difficult but fun. See, with the video cutting, we had to take a bunch of different shots, and then in the program, Adobe Premiere, I got a trial for it because there's no way I'm gonna be able to pay $600 for it. So then I used the trial, which gave me like 30-something days, and we had to take a bunch of different cuts, and what I had to do is literally splice them together. That wasn't so hard once I got the program. In regards to issues with Adobe and whatnot, I had to get actual audio files for gunfire. I had to find a picture for the flash, and I also had to do a lot of research on how to do that, and most of my research I got from a YouTuber named Freddie W, and he does this stuff all the time, and so he helped a lot. I actually sent him a message and he responded back, and it did help a lot. Now, I wanted to make sure everybody knew how to do a proper recoil effect, so, you know, the gun goes back with a certain amount of force, and they had to replicate that movement so that it looked okay. Because
if I remember correctly, we didn't have much of a problem with that. I mean, most of the guys, I think, did a good job with it.
Yeah, true, and we had wide shots, so it wasn't really that much of an issue.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was pretty good. The only problem I have with the flashes really was that each separate flash had to have its own layer, and I had to put 1,000 layers just to get all the flashes. It took forever. It's still going to take forever. I've really only worked on it so far with a test, and that took a while. Other than that, editing was not that bad. And as Sebastian hinted earlier, the orange tips on the guns would have been hard, especially with this one right here because it's gray.
Silver.
Silver. And it's got a pretty nice paint job, except personally I would have used a spray paint to get rid of this. But that would have been difficult on the editing software because it's not black.
I didn't. I think I tried to scrape it off because with spray paint I was worried I was going to get 2 different shades of silver.
Yes. You just layer it and it should be fine. And so that was my only issue. My only real issue with editing that we had to have me not do, because that would have taken even more time. And as I said, I've just done a trial and that took a while. So the editing for the actual video is going to be like a day. That's pretty much it as far as editing goes. So in regards to the actual flashes, I didn't use Adobe Premiere. I used Adobe After Effects, which I used after I cut everything, so that we had the video all done and we just put the actual flashes into it later. And that's how I found it was a lot easier.
Thank you very much, Will. Which was obvious.
You're welcome.
He comes to join us. So essentially, yeah, that's how the whole thing worked out. How it's, I think we all had a great time with this. And I think that this video will actually pave the way for future productions by both Frontline Productions, my unit, and RKE Productions. Do you have a production suit, Will?
Yes, I have a YouTube video actually, and I may put this stuff along with the test on the actual channel, which is named Church FTC.
Okay. Thank you very much, Will. Thank you, Ryan, for joining us today.
No problem.
It's my pleasure.
Yes. Boys,
yep.
We did really good today.
Yes, we did.
Thank you for joining us for Behind the Scenes of Hamlet, the way it should have ended. Thank you. Have a nice night.